The fashion industry is changing, and if you want to start sustainable fashion brands but you have no hesitations or no reservations whatsoever, then you need to watch this video to ensure you're prepared. The first reason why you shouldn't start a sustainable fashion brand is if you're looking to just become an entrepreneur and you just want to make a quick buck. Because I can tell you right now that it is not easy building a sustainable fashion brand from the ground up, and quite frankly, as a society, we don't need another merch brand, or we don't need another crew neck sweater brand. And quite frankly, we also don't need another pair of pants or another dress. Like, we have enough stuff. And so if you're just simply looking to start a product-based business because you want to make a quick buck, you want to make some money, or you want to become an entrepreneur, that's just not the best way to go about it, because you really need to want to put your customers first, solve a problem, solve a pain point. I talk about that all the time on this channel, and so if you've been watching other videos, you'll know this, but don't start a sustainable fashion brand if you're just looking to become an entrepreneur. There's so many better ways to do that, and you could do a service-based business. Like, you could literally start anything else, like an advertising agency or an influencer marketing agency, and that would just be so much more cost-effective for you. And really dig deep into your why as to why you want to do this, because it is going to be tough and you need to be passionate about it. So the first reason why you shouldn't start a sustainable fashion brand is if you're just looking to become an entrepreneur and make a quick buck, and you just kind of want to put some products out there to make revenue. That's just not the best way to go about it. So do not start a sustainable fashion brand if that's you. The second reason you should not start a sustainable fashion brand is if you don't plan to incorporate sustainability into your business. In a similar fashion, no pun intended, if you aren't planning to make your brand conscious and intentional, I really think that you're going to go out of business quite quickly, because we don't need another fashion brand. Like I talked about, we have enough pants, we have enough sweaters, we have enough crew necks to really last us lifetimes and lifetimes. And there's so many things wrong with the fashion industry already, from the harmful materials that go into our clothing, the unethical and not great treatment of garment workers, the amount of consumption that consumers are having, and at the end of life, the millions of tons of textile waste that we send to our landfill. So there's already so many issues, and there's just no point in you starting a brand that's just gonna add to all of this chaos. So if you don't intend to incorporate conscious practices and really think about the people, the profit, and the planet of your business, it's just not going to be viable for you. I don't want to be blunt, but you just really need to incorporate sustainability. And if you don't want to do it for intrinsic reasons, even from a business perspective, it just makes more sense, because consumers nowadays, especially younger Gen Z consumers, really demand transparent and accountability from companies to really shape up and do their part. And then there's also a lot of legislation coming down the pipeline as well, especially in Europe and soon worldwide, around sustainable practices. So in order to future-proof your business, if you're thinking of starting a brand, you really want to think about what your sustainability practices are and what your strategies are. So if you're not thinking about incorporating sustainability into your business, that is a second reason why you should not start a fashion brand. Again, there's so many better business models that you could do, so if this is not in your plans, then don't start a brand. The third reason you should not start a sustainable fashion brand is if you don't plan to put your customers first. The most successful businesses and brands out there are in business to serve their ideal customer. They obsess over them, and they really try to add as much value to their lives as possible and or solve pain points. And so if you don't plan to do that, and instead, a rookie mistake I always see sustainable fashion founders making is they obsess over their products, and they think that if they love the pant that they're designing, or if they love the blazer that they're designing, everyone else will as well. But you need to validate your products and co-create a solution with your ideal customer. And so if you don't plan to put your customers first, then don't start a sustainable fashion brand, because you're not going to succeed in the long run. Again, being blunt, but it's just not going to be viable. And quite frankly, you can make the most sustainable sweater in the world from the best materials, produce it at the best factory, pay the garment workers a great wage, but at the end of the day, if no one uses and no one wears the sweater, then you've just made really sustainable and ethical junk that's probably gonna go straight to the landfill, and we don't need more of that. So you really need to take a customer first approach and really intentionally figure out who your target customer is, what problem you're going to solve, and solve that pain point so that it's actually being used and it's adding value to people's lives. The fourth reason why you should not start a sustainable fashion brand is if you don't want to invest money. Hate to break it to you, but a product-based business does take capital up front. However, there are ways you can fund your business, and I talked about it in this video, how to fund your sustainable fashion brand even if you have $0. So there's ways to do it, and you can check out that video if you want more info. But high level, if you don't invest in your dreams and if you don't invest in your company, who will, right? And so if you are though not in a position where you feel comfortable or you just don't want to, then don't start a sustainable fashion brand. That's not going to work out well for you. So that's the other reason why you should not start a sustainable fashion brand. And the fifth reason you shouldn't start a brand is if you also don't have the time or you don't want to invest time in it as well. Like similarly to the money thing, it takes a lot of time, it takes a lot of patience, and it takes a lot of strategic thought around how you're going to build your brand from the ground up. And so if you're not at a place where you have that time and you have the ability to invest that kind of care and nurture into your brand, then don't start, because you don't want to have a brand where you're not proud of it and you just don't really want to get behind it. And so that's really, really important to think about. For our clients, we equip them with our proven strategies and roadmap so that it saves them time and they can be efficient. But at the end of the day, they still need to put in the work to get the results. And so there's no magic pill, there's no magic solution. You're not just gonna wake up one day and have your dream brand. You do need to put in the effort and you do need to invest money. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the fashion industry is changing. And if you want to start a genuinely conscious brand, I would be honored to support you in our free launch masterclass. This is a 60-minute training where I'm gonna be sharing 3 secret strategies. First of all, we're gonna be talking about how to design beautiful garments, even if you don't have a fashion background. And then I'm gonna talk about how to source sustainable materials and ethical manufacturers, even if you don't have industry connections. And then last but not least, I'm gonna be sharing our tried and true system to build a community from scratch that is ready to buy from you so that when you launch, you make at minimum $20,000. We have limited spots, we're already over halfway full, so make sure you sign up. The link to do so is recloseted.com/masterclass. And I'm really excited to see you and support you at the masterclass. With that all being said, if you have any questions, comment them down below, and together, let's transform the harmful fashion industry.